We're all quite familiar with the symbol and the presence of the cross within Christianity. We hang them on our walls, we wear them around our necks, tattoo them on our bodies, and we'll dangle them from our rearview mirrors. But how often do we stop and think about the cross in terms that are deeper than simply the shape that Jesus was crucified on? You see, Christianity doesn't merely proclaim that Jesus died, but that his death had immeasurable significance for the future course of human history. In the same way, the Christian teaching of the cross asks what his death meant, what effect it had, and how it worked for our salvation. And this subject matter is called atonement. And to atone simply means to reconcile a broken relationship on behalf of another. And this is exactly what Christ accomplished for us on the cross. One theologian said it this way, that where sin had dug a trench in a relationship, the cross bridged it. Where sin resulted in estrangement, the cross reconciled it. Sin made war, the cross made peace. Sin broke fellowship, the cross repaired and restored it. Classic Christianity tells us that the heart of the atonement is that Christ suffered in our place to satisfy the requirement of the holiness of God. He removed the obstacle of pardoning the guilty. What the holiness of God required, the love of God provided in the cross. Jesus himself best summarizes the atoning significance of his death when he says that the Son of Man came to give his life as a ransom for many in Mark chapter 10. And there we have many things that we can learn from this simple statement that Jesus made about his own death. First is that the cross was intentional. Jesus came to die. He didn't come to earth with a different set of reasons and then ended up dying. The cross was not plan B or plan C because other scenarios didn't work out. No, Jesus came to die. Secondly, Jesus' death on the cross acted as a ransom. A ransom was a price paid to redeem prisoners from servitude. So the implication is that Jesus sees his death as a payment, as a ransom to release many from bondage. He is paying what they could not pay so that they may go free. But why did Jesus do this? Jesus had to die because of the state that humanity found itself in. The cross had to happen because of our chronic history of sin. The cross is that remedy for this vast human affliction. All people have sinned against God, and the only way that we can get around the need for a cross is to fantasize that no such affliction exists, that there is no rift between God's holiness and human sin, that human sin doesn't actually exist. But we know that because of our sin, Jesus had to die because no blood less than the incarnate Son of God would have been sufficient to enable a declaration that the sins of all humanity had been forgiven. 1 Timothy 2:5 tells us that there is one God and one mediator who can reconcile God and humanity, the man Jesus Christ. And since we are stained by sin and cannot keep the law of God, then the only one who could do it is God himself. Therefore, Jesus' sacrifice, his ransom paid to God the Father on our behalf, is of infinite value and is sufficient to cleanse all people from their sins and undo the penalty of the offense to God. And the last thing that we need to mention here about the atonement is really a key factor that can't be forgotten, that reconciliation is a finished work. This means that in the cross, the saving act has decisively occurred. The atonement that was accomplished on the cross is the central event of human history that once and for all changed the divine-human relationship. Because of the finished work on the cross, we are reconciled to God. We can have that relationship with him, and that part is finished. He has accomplished everything that needs to happen for us to be justified to him. Thanks for watching. I would love your help building up the TCB community, so please share my videos like this one on your social media platforms and be sure to sign up for our email list for more great content.